up with both his parents as pastors. While he was a rapper and had women constantly messaging him on social media, he wants to settle down. He says, obviously, with rap music, I feel like a lot of women think I'm just a womanizing party boy and they instantly get put off. But my lifestyle and my music are two different things. He has been unlucky in love and hasn't been in a relationship that's lasted longer than a year. Okay. He said his parents and their faith have shaped him. He's ready for his happily ever after. While he wants to find a loving relationship, physicality is important to him. His ideal match is a fit woman with a small waistline and big booty. That's a direct quote, y'all. And he typically goes for blonde, feminine women. That is the write-up on David. Now, already I see pastor's kid. But I don't know. You may tell me something. Is Nigerian pastors different than American pastors' children? Okay. Hey, Quay. Yeah, this is Married at First Sight Australia. If you like, as I watch another YouTuber called Wilco from Australia, if you like trash, mess, drama, and all kinds of stuff, this is for you. This is for you, Quay. If you like your Married at First Sight with a whole lot of heat, dinner parties, and meeting the experts weekly, this is the show for you. Okay. And this year, we have 2 brides that are at the altar saying, I can't marry you. I'm just saying. We love the drama in Australia, but let me get you. Life is Reality. What do you think about what I read up about David?
David likes to play in some snow. Now, the thing is, that could be due to lack of other options that maybe that may share a cultural heritage with him. Because Australia is very challenging for minorities to live. You don't see many, but there are other cultures there. You have lots of, New Zealanders and Islanders and Greek, Italian. But I'm not so sure there is a large population of Western African, Caribbean type folks there. Don't know about that.
I'm gonna push back on you. I'm gonna push back. Maybe not in the city. But again, I absolutely love Australia, and I have been watching. There's documentary. There is information because again, Australia also has a depleting population. So it may not be in the big cities, but I know they have been a huge task force in getting African families to Australia to live in farming communities. So again, this is where I would say maybe not in the city where he is. He grew up at 13 around maybe his preference, but there is a huge community of, Africans that have been migrated to Australia to help in the farming communities, farming land areas. So I do see your point.
Therein lies the problem, because he's not looking for a farmer's chick. He never said that. And this recent drive, because of the depleting population, wasn't there at the time when he was growing up, when he moved there, right? It's an initiative because the population is depleting, so they're trying to enforce migration there. So that doesn't apply to him. He's in the corporate world.
Yes, he's in Queensland.
Exactly, corporate world, Queensland. So proximity to his own shade may not be as high. But nothing wrong with that. People fall in love with who they fall in love with, and people want what they want. I just pointing it out because that's what he actually said in his mission statement. Now, my thing is he prepared for what he says he wants? Because as I kind of intimated, the There is a lot of racism in that country towards ethnic minorities. So we are not sure how a relationship with his preference would look in terms of approval from her family and her parents. We don't know.
Well, we didn't hear anything as far as qualities he wants. He just said small waistline, big booty. I mean,
Yeah. And
blonde, feminine. I'm hearing superficial.
I'm hearing that too. But he don't know the girl. So she may provide qualities that he may like, but he's purely talking about aesthetics.
Right. Right, Sam. Gia might be his type. We don't know. Again, when you see two people on the screen, y'all, it's just in the way it flows in the article. This is not how they're paired up. I will pair them up and we will have proper paired up photos for when next week's live, when we've had our first weddings starting tomorrow. So let's go on to Gia. Gia is 35, okay? She is a disability support worker. It goes on to say, while she might be judged for her appearance, Gia knows there's more to herself than that. She was previously married to the father of her child and has hardly dated after her divorce. Finding she's been attracting the wrong kind of guy, she is after a good man who makes her feel seen and valued. She knows her lack of filter might rub people the wrong way, but she is determined to find the man of her dreams. She's quoted as saying, "My husband, he's got to keep up with me." She's a self-professed spicy Italian, okay? She says, "I will keep him on his toes. I am not easy, but with men, I always get my way." A source also shared that she is unapologetic and does not care if she ruffles feathers. She's bold, she's brash, and she says whatever's on her mind and will make for absolutely iconic TV. That is what they wrote about Gia. So we have our first mother, okay? Okay? She's divorcee and a mother.
Mm-hmm.
We've always had that, y'all, on Married at First Sight Australia. If this is your first time knowing about the cast, we always have, parents, and we always have divorcees. That's also what we like about it because it's regular people.
Yeah.
But she always gets what she wants. Life is reality. Is Gia going to get what she wants here?
I don't think so. It depends if she wants a tall, dark, handsome guy from Western Africa or whatever. If that's who she's looking for, he might be her type. We don't know his relationship history, whether he's divorced or anything, right?
We don't know. We just know he was a rapper and stuff like that. But this is not the pairing. Okay, we can see it. I can see it, but we don't know.
No, but I'm saying she would, if they were matched together, I don't think she's gonna get necessarily what she's looking for. She probably needs someone more mature, maybe with a child of their own, or at least some relationship experience which will be comparable to hers. The thing about always getting what she wants from a man, that's a concern, because you might want some nighttime activity. You might always get it. You might want some gifts. You might always get it. You might want time and attention from someone else that isn't me.
Ooh.
And you might always get it. So those type of statements may come back to haunt. Mm-hmm.
Well, the spicy Italians always make the dinner party spicy. So I am here for Gia. I am here for what Gia will bring.
Well, it's a shame their food isn't spicy. Don't have a spicy attitude if your food ain't spicy.
You're wrong for that, but it's all right. Okay.
Food is bland.
This is speaking, y'all. Life is reality is out of the UK, but he has Caribbean roots. Okay, Jamaican, and so it's got to be spicy. Okay.
Yeah, man.
They're agreeing with you. Seasonless food.
Exactly.
Okay, next up, we have two brides next. Okay, let's see. I don't know if it's Rachel or Raquel. Okay, we'll see how it is pronounced there. She is 35 and a team leader. I'm going to say Rachel. Rachel hasn't been in a serious relationship for 14 years and has instead been in situationships with guys who never wanted to make it official. Unlucky in love, she was led to believe she was not beautiful enough for a relationship because she wasn't with a man who gave her compliments or made her feel attractive. Despite this, she has never diminished herself. This bride is a vibrant, bubbly woman with a maternal energy. She hopes a maths experiment can lead her to a man she can feel complete with, and she is looking for someone protective and willing to put in the work. If the teaser is anything to go by, this bride has a very infectious laugh and bubbly personality. That's Rachel. Y'all, Rachel in the clip, if you see it, has a laugh and she is constantly laughing. It may be a nervous laugh, but it was getting on my nerves for the 5 seconds that I heard it. Life is reality. What do you think about Rachel?
Well, it's a good thing you said her name's Rachel, because from here I thought I said Ratchet for a second. But yeah, the laugh is definitely something. It's quite unique, and she definitely seems like she likes to have fun and be very jovial. A lively personality, so you're gonna hear that laugh a lot. So hopefully she's matched with someone who, is going to appreciate her quirks and has a sense of humor, but obviously is also going to bring her a quite positive experience. Because I think even though we like this show, they have a habit of putting people on the show for drama. And she seems like she could fall into the category of liking the guy, but the guy not really liking her as much. And there's a level of insecurity that comes with that. It happens every season. So I hope it doesn't happen, but I can see her falling into that category just from what we've seen on the clips.
Right. The plus size girlies, y'all, they in Australia, it has not been a success for the plus size girly. And last year, the guy complained right after the wedding. Okay. They went on the honeymoon because he wanted to go on the honeymoon. And then he just was playing it along like he wanted to be with her, and he didn't. That was Katie and Tim. Tim right now still ain't on social media because of what the Australian public put him through. Okay. So I will say, for whoever's matched with her, please understand, be a gentleman. Be a gentleman, even if she's not your type, as with any woman. And the ladies, be a lady, even if the man is not necessarily your type. Okay. But y'all, plus size girlies don't always get it, always get a good experience. So
No.
next up, you wanted to say anything about
I
Rachel?
was gonna say, yeah, because there's a lot of bikini blonde babes and more slimmer toned. It's a very gym friendly culture, tropical weather. So a lot of the ladies there are tanned, toned, and yeah, so the plus size models don't usually get a good rap. You're correct on that.
Now we do have a bride, y'all, and I will tell you who it is. We have a bride who was plus size and got, she set her life together in the promo clips, and she is now in the slim category. But maybe this next bride, Julia, that's standing next to her for our purposes, maybe Julia can help Rachel out, because Julia, 35, is a confidence and charisma consultant. Okay, let's see if Raquel needs that. It goes on to say about Julia that before she started running workshops for businesses, she studied journalism and worked as an entertainment correspondent in London. She is a spiritual dreamer who stands out from the crowd and a deep thinker with a romantic soul. Julia identifies as bisexual and has been in 4 serious relationships, 3 with women and with one man. She is open to dating both sexes and wants to share a raw and emotional connection with someone. That is Julia.
Well, the options are boundless for her. She dip and dab. She played for both teams. What would be interesting is, if she's had 3 failed relationships on the same team, is that where she goes again to think she finds her love? Or does she decide, you know what, I've tried that 3 times. I've only played for the other side one time. Let me give them another shot. So it'd be interesting to see who she's matched with from that perspective. And being a confidence coach, I would expect her to be fairly assertive with her choice. So yeah, I would like to see who they pair her up with, whether it's a male or female.
And Quay, for those of you who may not have seen Australia before, Australia and UK Married at First Sight do have same-sex couples. Okay, so she could be paired up with another woman, or she could be paired up with a man. We will see what it is, but definitely in Australia and UK MAFS, they will have, like, last UK MAFS was a girl couple, and they also had a boy couple. Okay, so we don't know, and based on the numbers, I don't know yet. I don't know yet with the numbers. It may be a lady, but I don't know. It will be interesting. But yes, MAFS UK definitely had, and I liked that couple. Well, I didn't like the couple. I liked one girl out of the couple. But it was very interesting. I liked the guy couple, and they failed me after the show. But that is Julia. I'm hearing my echo. Are you playing me elsewhere? Okay. Okay, I was just hearing myself echo. Okay. Let me pull up the next media asset. Now, y'all, these people are not paired together. This is just for us to be able to show you 2 people at a time, okay? This is not a pairing. Okay. So Stephen is 34. He's a marine technician. He is self-described goofball. Stephen is fun, loving guy who enjoys adventure and isn't afraid of being silly. For most of his 20s, Stephen is in a heavy metal band, chasing the dream of becoming a famous rock star. Now he runs his own company fixing boats. He has put business first, but recently found himself as one of the only single blokes left in his group. He describes himself as a goofball who loves adventure and has found dating challenging. This groom finds the dating world uncompromising and feels that women have a never-ending checklist. He is after someone who is ambitious, easygoing, and someone who won't be offended by his jokes. That is Stephen. Any thoughts on what I just read about Stephen?
Yeah. Stephen sounds like he's what they would call a bloke. It sounds like he feels like he's missing out because all of his friends are getting hitched. So, is he on the show for the right reasons? Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. If it's happening for them, then that doesn't mean you have to rush to make it happen for you. That's called FOMO, fear of missing out. So is he there with the right intentions? That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a bad husband. But I think he sounds like a bit of a lad. So I think he may when I say lad, it's a culture. It's like beer drinking, very male centered, support network, friends are all, like to go to the bars, watch the rugby game, those type of things, very male activity. So it'd be interesting to see how he integrates to a relationship and who he's paired with, because he may be too, used to hanging with his friends and not be able to switch it up for the relationship, like we saw on Maths UK with Leo. Was it? Yeah.
Was it Leo or was it Bailey?
No, it was Leo. Leo was the
Okay.
one with April, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, Leo was the
Right.
one with April.
So
Yeah.
he was struggling. She was always saying, You're not being yourself. When are you gonna be your
Right.
real self?" And it's because I think he was so used to just being with his mates and downing beers and doing all the lad jokes that when it came to relationship, he struggled to have conversation, struggled to be himself. He put all this pressure trying to please her, but she really wanted to just know who he really was, and he couldn't be his
Right.
authentic self. So I think we might have something similar here.
Similar. Yeah, they may have cast it similar. But if he is with the young lady that likes to laugh a lot, and if that laugh is annoying, it may stop him from telling jokes. I mean, we,
Yeah, that may be a strategic move by the experts. If they're going to look and be, that laugh is horrible. Let's put her with someone who ain't going to make her laugh.
okay, so we also have a senior couple always married at first sight, UK and Australia. So Rebecca is our senior bride. Okay, Rebecca is 51, a leasing manager. After her 19-year-old son moved out of the home, Rebecca feels like it's her time to find love. She was previously married and hasn't been lucky on dating apps. The mother of one is after a man who is her equal, exudes confidence, and shares her love of the finer things in life. That's all they have for Rebecca. I find it's very, very nerve-wracking that all I have is 3 lines about Rebecca. What is going on? When they usually tell us very little, there's a whole lot coming.
Yeah, she might just be very guarded, or there might not be that much information. She might just not have a lot to describe her, a lot to her. Or she may be playing it safe and not revealing much about herself at this point, but allowing the partner that is matched with her to find out the more intimate stuff and more personal stuff about her.
Right, and because she's 51, we'll kind of see who the guy is. We kind of know who she'll be matched with because he's a senior man as well. He's a senior person as well. So it's the people who are in their 30s where we just don't look. Yes, she looks fabulous for 51. Absolutely fabulous. The hair, the everything, the hair, the makeup, just the dress, va va voom for 51. Absolutely stunning. Okay. Anything else on Rebecca? It was very, very limiting what they said about her.
It was so brief. That's all I have.
Okay. Next up, 2 lovely brides. Now, y'all, these are not paired together, as I will say again. So let's start with the largest dress of the bunch, Alisa. Alisa is 33, a nurse and social media manager. Alisa wears her heart on her sleeve and always shows up to support the people she cares about. She isn't afraid to speak up in relationships, but she is working on her direct and sometimes blunt delivery. Her 6-year relationship ended last year, and letting go of someone she considered to be her life partner has been challenging. This bride is ready to be with someone honest who wants similar things in the future, shares her ambition, and wants to build a family. However, we aren't sure how her time in the experiment is going to go because she tells her groom that she doesn't think she can marry him while they're at the altar. That is Alisa.
Mm-hmm. So I saw this clip, and 6 years of being with someone And then within a year, you're on the show talking about marriage and family. So that's the first thing for me. Has she had enough time to heal and recover and completely get over the previous relationship? And then how is she affected by it in terms of her optimism and her realistic ambition? Because coming on this show is kind of like speed dating, but without the dating process. It's speed marriage. So is she there for the right reasons, or is she just there because the previous relationship failed, and after spending so much time in it, she wants to fast track her way into this one? So that's the first thing. But from the clip I saw of her, her meltdown and reluctance to go through with the process, that would be very off-putting for the groom. So I'm not sure how much they shield him from what takes place. But if he does go through with the marriage with her after that meltdown, I'd be very concerned about how long it lasts, because the expectations that are set by her may not be met in the groom, and it could lead to some hostility and some really toxic back and forths, which we've seen previously on other seasons. Sometimes the level of disappointment after coming on the show reaches a point where there's a lot of backbiting and the claws come out. And although it makes for entertainment, it's not beneficial for the relationship that they're trying to get into.
Right. I am concerned, as everyone in the chat is saying, that, the relationship, the long-term relationship ended last year, and it's someone she considered her life partner. It sounds like that person didn't consider her their life partner. I'd like to know how it ended. I'd like to know what happened, because it's seeming like, she's jumping from one thing into the next. Okay. It is wild to me. Y'all, she's a pediatric nurse. And while her personality seems great when we saw the clip of her on social media for Married at First Sight Australia, she looks like she would be the fun nurse for the kiddies, but that is completely different to the person you have to be when you're in a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So right next to her is Beck. Okay. Now Beck is 35. Okay. Now she is the young lady that also took time to get herself physically together she took her health into her hands. If you see a clip, the trailer about her, she took her health and now she feels she's her best self. So Beck is 35. She's an account manager. Beck is hoping to meet the love of her life on the show with tattoos, a beard, and banter on her dream list. Born to a Greek father and English mother, she is loud, outspoken, and a social butterfly. That don't go together for me, but let's continue. She describes herself as a pedigree mutt and was previously engaged, but ended the relationship 4 months before the wedding. After a transformational year, she hopes to meet someone who shows love through her cooking and by being loving and affectionate. That is the bio for Beck.
Nothing wrong with any of that. I hope she lives up to what she says, though. I hope it's just not for the profile.
I wonder if she would be paired with the guy that said women have a long list.
Well, then he'll be pleasantly surprised because you don't have one.
Right. I'm concerned with Beck's stability. She ended the engagement 4 months before the wedding. I need to know how long that relationship was and how long ago that was. That's what I have, and her transformational year? How does she see herself now that she's a thinner self? That's where I have, you know, her perception of herself.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
that's where I kind of yeah. Back
right. And also, will she be hyper vigilant over how affectionate and how into her the groom is as a result of the body transformation? She may be very conscious and may not handle it well if he's not as enthusiastic about her appearance as she wants him to be.
right
But
there, right.
I was going to say, ending the previous relationship in the manner she did is obviously a cause for concern. So will she share that with him, or will she keep that a secret and kind of move on past it?
Correct. That's all good points because now this is past engagement. We didn't even have an engagement for you to end. This is marriage. Now for y'all married at first sight, Australia and UK, y'all, this is kind of like a civil union. While they're having a wedding and we talk about it being married at first sight, this is like a civil union. They don't have to go through the process of a full divorce like here in the US. In the US, it is a legal binding marriage. In Australia and the UK, it's more like what us Americans would term like a civil union where they will just, if things don't work out, they can part ways and end things amicably, and there's nothing, no judge needs to sign off on it. Okay. Just so everybody kind of knows the differences in the shows. Now, let me put up the next two people. They are not matched. These are two people. Okay. Next up is Brooke, who is 27 and a model. This fashionista is not afraid to give her future man a style makeover. She's come to the experiment with the hopes of finding an ideal match after being cheated on by almost every guy she's dated. Brooke does admit that she can be jealous and read into things, but isn't deterred despite being unlucky in love. The model is after someone trustworthy, loyal, tall, tanned, and who can make her laugh. That is Brooke, 27. Thoughts on Brooke?
Uh, yeah, she's been cheated on by almost every single relationship she's had. Um, does she know the reasons why? Is there a common theme? Is there a common thread? Is it for the same reason? Yeah. And if so, um, what's going to be different this time around? And I think she will need to be careful not to treat this dude like he's one of her exes, because sometimes there's that residual hurt, or you can be quite jaded based on your previous experiences, and that shapes your view of every guy that you encounter in her shoes like that. So she needs to tread carefully to make sure she gives this guy a clean slate and a fresh opportunity to get to know her, to see if the relationship can actually work. If she starts trying to paint him with the same brush as her exes, or there's any reminders or similarities with anyone she's been with before, then it might not end well for her.
But she gets jealous and she reads into things. That's what is she a tick tick boom?
It sounds like it, because the combination of what I just said and what you just said makes her could be very unstable. If if she catches what she perceives to be a glance across the room at someone else, or when all the couples do get together later down in the series, if there's a conversation at the dinner table or something like, is she gonna fly off the handle? Because we have seen insecurities play out on the show too. So yeah, she's one to watch. for sure.
You, you know what? Last season, we had a bride wearing that same color that her shoes are in. So that's why I'm looking at Brooke, because that color, that kind of periwinkle. We had a bride last year wear a whole periwinkle dress, and she was a lot. Okay. Jackie was a lot.
Mhm.
So next up, we have Chris, who is 31 and a construction supervisor. Chris describes himself as an honest, upfront, and sometimes controversial for the sake of it, and someone who will bend the truth if he needs to avoid issues in the relationship. Okay. The former, they call him a tradie. I don't know what a traddy is, now a boss and enjoys telling others what to do, and claims he's given up his partying ways. He has found it hard to compromise in the past when it comes to relationships. It doesn't feel he has much room to change. However, he also falls quickly and considers himself a softie. He's skeptical about the experiment, but hopes he is proven wrong. This boy's boy doesn't have platonic relationships with women. His typical type is petite, brunette, naturally tanned, and fit. That is Chris. Now, y'all, I looked at social media. Chris is one of those people that think this is all a game to be played. He thinks Married at First Sight is just a game. It ain't real. And he's just here to prove them wrong. So yes, frat boy is what he's giving himself. Like you said before, a lad. What are your thoughts on Chris?
Chris is going to be a problem for the experiment. He's already quite cynical and skeptical, and that's going to affect the way he goes into the experiment. And then the lady he's partnered up with is going to have to deal with his level of skepticism and his antics. And I think that's going to be quite challenging for her if she's one of the more optimistic ones looking for a relationship that's going to work. I think the experts are going to have their hands full, as well as the bride. And again, why put someone like him on the show? You're vetting people to try and have a successful marriage. The only reason I would think this guy's been put on the show is if they're desperate to try and change his cynicism and say, okay, listen, this guy doesn't believe the experiment works. Let's get him on and let's match him with someone and let's change his mind. Other than that, what's the point in having someone on the experiment that doesn't believe in the experiment? He's probably not going to stick to the rules. And he's also going to be quite resistant to any advice you give him due to the level of skepticism he has. So, yeah, I think he's going to be a spoiler. And I'm not sure why you picked this dude.
I agree with you. I'm not sure why he was picked to be here, if he's that much of a skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, again, y'all, everybody's totally agreeing with your assessment. Okay. Y'all, people are put on the screen together so I could do 2 by 2. That does not mean that these people were matched. Okay. So it might be Brooke and Chris put together, but we don't know yet. Okay. We will find out when we watch the show, like you will find out. Next up, we have 2 grooms here. Okay. 2 grooms.
They better not be
Okay.
matched together now.
May not be
go
matched
ahead.
together. May not be matched together. Oh, let me see. Danny, 34. I don't know why he's in a brown suit. I have a thing about don't wear a brown suit to your wedding, but that's just me. Danny, 34, real estate and businessman. Danny fell in love with Australia when he moved from the UK during his 20s. Originally a trade, I guess tradie is maybe a tradesman. He
Mhm.
worked his way up the real estate ladder and considers himself a soft and cuddly teddy bear. He is aware that he has been a player and lost great women because of it, but doesn't want to make the same mistakes again. Danny is not afraid to speak his mind, is protective of the people he loves, and believes that a man should put himself in front of a woman to protect her. He is hoping to find someone who makes him laugh, but a strong woman that he considers his ride or perish. That is the write up for Danny, 34.
Yeah, another one that's gonna give off some concerns. That bio doesn't scream stability in the relationship at all. The first word that comes to mind for him is experimental. He trying to experiment on himself to see if he can stick it out and find someone, rather than actually, I think, necessarily looking for a partner and having the optimism to have a marriage that lasts. I think it's a test to himself. I've lost so many good women in the past. Let me see if I can find one on the show and make amends for it.
But does he not see that the problem is him, not the great woman, his player ways?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's his way of acknowledging it by mentioning the fact that he's lost so many good women to his player ways, right? That's his acknowledgement that it is him. What does he do differently this time around? It's obviously, this is a controlled experiment where you're given one partner to try and make it work with. So there isn't the freedom to have a roving eye. But as we know, that doesn't stop some people on Married at First Sight Australia. It's actually known that every season there is a philandering male and female, hands wander, secret meetups. That happens on this one. Not so much on the UK or the other ones to the same extent. But on this one, on this Australian version, guaranteed you're going to see someone just unhappy with their partner or more attracted to someone else's partner than they are to their own.
So what Life is Reality is telling you, there is always a cheating scandal on Married at First Sight Australia. Now, last year, they did not give us a whole scandal, but there was definitely footsies under the table at dinner. Okay, we saw it. The camera zoomed in on it, and they didn't dive into it. And I found that very suspicious.
Because they condone it. It wasn't even a talking point. Listen, if they frowned upon that type of behavior, that would have been something that would have been called out either at the reunion or on the couch during the weekly catch-ups. It was not addressed at all. Why? Because it was condoned. We've seen how quick they jump on behaviors and analyze people's treatment of each other. So to me, that signaled that they didn't see it as a big deal. They liked the entertainment value, they liked the secrecy aspect of it, and they didn't bring it up to either one of the participants.
Right. Just so y'all know what to expect. There may be a cheating scandal. Now, next up is Philippe. Now, if it is not pronounced that way, I apologize. I will get it right once we hear it. Okay. Now, he looks very dashing and dapper. And now, what I do like about his suit, if you all see a close up of his suit, he has you can see the stitching on his lapel. I love that. That's a little added touch that I love. I don't know if y'all men like it, but I love that. To see the stitching on the lapels, chef's kiss. But anyway, Philippe, 37, a carpenter. Every morning, Philip follows a strict routine. He wakes up early, goes to the gym, and has a 3-minute cold shower. Born in Croatia, Philip migrated to Australia with his parents when he was 2 and has a close relationship with them. He describes himself as a picky and stubborn, hoping the experiment will find him his perfect match. After serious self-reflection, he is ready to open his heart again and wants to have a wife to start a family. He is looking for a traditional relationship, believing men should be the providers and women are carers, and mothers. That is Philippe.
Okay, so I'd say, Philippe, don't be too picky and don't be too stubborn now, or you might talk yourself out of a relationship, a marriage. And then I think be careful with them gender roles, like the traditional aspect of things, because we live in modern times and there's a chance that the lady you meet may not be one of the type of ladies who wants to have those traditional, you know, women stay at home or look after their husband type mentality. She might be in corporate, she might be out there doing for herself. So if you know, like I said, the picky and stubborn thing, that might come back to haunt him.
Right, it may. But y'all, please keep in mind, last year we had a lady who wants to be a traditional wife. She wanted to be Susie Homemaker. She wanted to have kids and be a stay-at-home mom. So he may find a lady in the Australian circuit that wants to be that for him. They have a huge group of ladies in Australia that, you know, believe in going back in the day and being a traditional wife. Okay, and I know how the independent ladies are saying it in this comment section. Okay, but we had it last year. Okay, hey, what's Aaron? Good to see you. It's going to be interesting. Okay, let me
Mm.
pull up the next two. These are two grooms. This one is Grayson, another brown suit, no tie. Grayson, I see that. I don't like it. Okay, Grayson is 34, a company director. Before he became the director of a recruitment agency, Grayson dreamed of having a star-studded career as an AFL player. But serious injuries meant this wasn't possible. He has spent many years in self-reflection, always striving to be the best version of himself. At one point, he fell into the party boy lifestyle, which stopped when he felt empty inside and knew he wanted to change. Close with his family and fiercely loyal, he dreams of starting a family of his own, hoping to meet someone who has the same goal. When it comes to partners, he wants a natural woman who is warm, adventurous, optimistic, and comfortable in her own skin. That is Grayson.
Some good things about that bio, like you know, his optimism. The type of lady he wants to find is pretty realistic for a successful marriage. Um, Former AFL player. Mm, that's Aussie League football, by the way. So it's a kind of rugby style, American football style game. Um, so I think he's athletic, he's in shape, he has some optimism. Will they match him with the right partner, though? Or will they match him with someone just for the
Drama.
drama? So I think that's what we'd have to look out for with him, who he's matched with. Will it be an ideal match in terms of a lady looking for something similar to what he offers? Or will they match him with a complete opposite and make it difficult for them to gel?
He said he wants a natural woman. Does that mean his hair color too?
Well, usually when they say natural, it means no cosmetic surgery done on the Botox, the buttocks, or the bosoms. So that's what that means.
The three B's. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, again, there's nothing wrong with that requirement. There are plenty of natural ladies out there who haven't had surgery. But then there are a lot that have, and if they pair him with one that has had the cosmetics, how will that impact? You know, because he could argue this is not what I asked for. And usually, the ladies that do undergo, not in every case, but ladies that do undergo those cosmetic procedures, you know, there comes a level of defensiveness about why they actually did it. So when she hears that he has aspirations for a natural woman, that might be very triggering to a lady that's actually had the surgeries already.
And I will say on that note, most of the ladies, and we have seen, most of them, but there's some more coming up. They don't look like they have, gone through a whole lot of surgeries. They don't look initially. So we don't know. We will see them on their wedding day. It may look a little bit different, and we could tell more then. Okay. That's why I ask hair color, because most of the ladies I could see, some of them are dyeing their hair, and I wanted to know the level of natural Mr. Grayson is looking for. But Grayson, I need a natural tie, please. This is your wedding. Okay. This is your wedding day.
Mhm.
So anything else you want to say about Grayson?
That's it.
Okay, Luke is next, but y'all, Luke, and I don't know how, it's already a brown suit, and I don't know, I know some about menswear, but Luke is wearing 3 different textures. His jacket, his waistcoat, and his tie are 3 different textures. And I thought that was, a fashion faux pas, but, I'm an old lady, so, I don't know. Luke is 30. He is a farmer. Luke took over his father's cattle property and finds himself split between the city and the country. Before going on the show, he had one serious relationship, which ended shortly after his father passed away. Since then, he has struggled to commit, knowing the fear of loss holds him back. This groom is optimistic and hopes to meet an optimistic, bubbly bride. That is all we got for Luke.
Yeah. I mean, farmer guy mixing it between corporate and city. That means he could be a very well-mannered traditional guy mixed with the go-getter attitude from running a bit family business. Could come from some wealth, because farmers tend to, have acres of land, fresh produce, things like that, that they make money from and all of that. So he could be from a wealthy background. I'm not going to get on him about the 3 textures of his suit, because hopefully the bride will like one of them at least. She's sport for choice. She has options. um, but yeah, this could be a good old boy with a modern twist. So again, let's see if his match is compatible and is looking for that type of guy with, immediately I'm thinking there could be some wholesome values there. But
Right.
I don't know until I see it.
Right, we don't know, but again, at least he knows that the fear of loss is why he's fearing commitment. At least we're a step above what, most of the others we've seen before. But is that going to, why are you here? I'm hoping he's healed, at least partially.
Mhm. Again, you bring up a very good point. Is he healed? Because he's only had one relationship to go off of. So is he open to saying that was just one person and there's a whole variety of different women out here? Or because it was his first true love or whatever, is he jaded about how the relationship may pan out this time around? We have to see.
We definitely will have to see. So next up again, y'all, that these are not paired together. They're just together on the screen so we can tell you who they are. This is Mel. She is 28. She's a communication specialist. Mel has had fun in the past and is keen to settle down. Having grown up in Canberra, she recently moved to Sydney and wants to create her life there with her forever partner. Approaching 30, her friends are settling down, getting married, and having children, and she worries that she's being left behind. Determined to find her fairy tale, she believes she is a catch, but can be picky when it comes to her ideal type. That is Mel.
Better not pair her with the previous dude because there's an obvious gap in experience. You know, previous guy had one relationship, so he's gonna be very limited in many ways, many different aspects. And she's blatantly saying, listen, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, now I'm looking to settle down. So let's see if they find her an appropriate experience level groom. Again, there sounds like there's some fear of missing out. So is there a level of desperation to try and do this experiment because it fast tracks everything? And if that's the case, are you there for the right reasons in terms of looking for a long-term partner? Or is this just a box ticking exercise just to keep up with the Joneses?
They put everything in there you said that was a concern previously. The fear of missing out and, all of a sudden, you're picky and now you want to settle down after you had fun. So what is the female equivalent to the lad? It sounds like she may be it.
Ladette.
A ladette. Okay, we're learning a lot today. A ladette. Okay. Mel seems to be the way they're describing her in this context. She may be a ladette. Hey, Fritos Paul. Yes, we are live. We are counting down. We have the gentleman here, and then we have 2 more singles we are covering for Married at First Sight Australia. So this is Scott. Remember, Mel and Scott are not paired. They are not paired. Okay. But we are covering them. Scott is in that's a navy blue suit. Scott looks good. Okay. I love the navy blue suit. Scott is 33, a business owner. Scott is an adrenaline junkie who runs several businesses and wants to build himself an empire. Okay. This has made him a workaholic with every second of his day planned out, leaving him little time for a relationship. With this in mind, he hopes the experiment will help him find the love of his life who will support him on his journey to success. He finds that he's judged for his big personality, with people assuming he's a player, but he's a softie at heart. That is Scott, 33.
Workaholic, not much time for relationships. How does he juggle that this time around? He's got all these businesses. There's only 24 hours in the day. Your girl's going to want time, attention, quality time, do couple stuff together. How flexible is he going to be juggling all the stuff he's got prior to the marriage and now bringing a lady into his life to share that? So it seems like he's looking for a cheerleader, basically, a lady who's just going to kind of get behind his goals and kind of forget about her own. Not sure you're going to find that, buddy. Because some of these ladies are feisty and they got their own careers and their own stuff going on. So they're not going to take it too well when you're Mr. I've got 6 businesses, but I've got no time for you. A lot of girls are not going to like that. So, yeah. I don't know how he's going to fare on the show, but again, it depends on the matchup. So far, I don't think I've heard anyone that specifically fits with what he's looking for.
You're right. Unless, he's very much saying he wants someone to support him, as the comment section is saying. Is he going to be a supportive husband to his wife? Or does he need the trad wife, as they call it in Australia? Does he need a traditional wife just supporting him, taking care of house and home? So I haven't heard a lady here yet that is fitting that bill.
No.
Plus, he has a big personality, so he's sucking the air out of the room.
Yeah, it can be the center of attention. Will she be able to handle that? Every time he steps in the room, he may announce his presence in some way, and she may cringe at the level of attention that they're getting every time he's around. Is he the type of person to interject when other people got their stuff going on? He has to add his 2 cents or try and boss the situation. Is he the type of person that bosses the relationship because he's so used to owning so many businesses. Now that he's in a relationship, is he going to be trying to run that relationship like a business?
He's
Yeah.
just gonna run it. It sounds like he's just running it.
And you sound like the bride might run away. So, yeah, can the two really be compatible? Someone who's so, nothing wrong with having aspirations or owning businesses, but when you're owning multiple and you're blatantly saying you don't have much time in the day for anything else, I don't know. Don't know about that.
This is like the second or third guy we hear that says, I have planned every single part of my day. Everything is planned out and strict routine. I mean, this is not going to go well. You going on a TV show if you're used to a strict routine.
No, and not unless you can swap some things out of that routine and put wife in there instead. And if you're not able to do that, then that's where you're going to find problems.
Major problems. Okay, so our last two people, remember, these are not matched couples on the screen. This is just for us to get through. They're just placed on the screen together so we can get through the list of singles. Now, Stella is 32, a beauty technician. Stella moved from Lithuania to Australia 9 years ago and wants to establish a family here. With no relatives to lean on, she wants a traditional relationship, which is more common in Eastern Europe, where the man provides for the family and the woman can be a good mother. Because of the cultural differences in Australia, she thinks she comes across as blunt, but she is emotional and sensitive. She's determined to settle down and is looking for a man who has his life together and willing to take the lead. That is Stella.
Yeah, I think there's going to be there's going to be a few guys that would be looking for this type of lady. The whole traditional aspect, that's going to be, a green flag to many guys. Where she comes across as blunt, that's also a very European thing. I think there are some parts of Eastern Europe where they are very blunt and forward, like Germany and the associated countries surrounding that. So their culture is very traditional. Will it match with a modern day relationship with some of these guys who may not be traditional? I'm not sure. So this really does depend on who she's matched with. Hopefully she's not matched with Nigerian brother at the beginning, because also I think an Eastern European family will be less receptive to a melanated guy. So so there are some good bits in there. How emotional she is, I mean, everybody's emotional to some degree, so I can't hold her to that. But how sensitive is she? Because being emotional is one thing, emotionally expressive, but being sensitive, how does she handle someone who's going to be a high-powered businessman, or someone who's got their whole day rigid and structured, or someone who's had only one relationship before, So we'll see. I know that the Nigerian guy wants a blonde, but they don't always give you what you want.
And she's not a traditional guy with his life together.
Yeah, but sometimes they'll take the list of things that you asked for, and they will say, "Okay, let's give him something else and make it challenging."
Right.
Or vice versa.
Right. Hey, aristocrats. Yeah, because we've seen it's either Philippe or the gentleman Scott that we just talked about. Those two strict businessmen who are looking for traditional wives definitely are possibilities for her, but we don't know.
Philippe would be a good match for her, I think.
It would be. We'll see. We'll see if they do match them together. Now, last but not least, of course, and we know exactly who Steve's bride is going to be because Steve is 50. Okay. Steve is a creative director. Steve is a silver fox and a father of 4 daughters and believes he understands women. However, he admits that he has been selfish with his partners in the past. His career, which has involved flipping pubs and hospitality venues, has allowed him to carve out his own schedule. Married before, he wants to find someone sociable who enjoys the simple luxuries in life. That is Steve. Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, that's Steve.
Thinks he knows women. Uh, Steve, got a lot to learn because you will never know, bro. The thing is, I think he comes from that perspective because he does have 4 daughters. Obviously, he was in previous relationships, marriages, whatnot. So because he's around so many women in his life on a daily, you may think he knows. But no, your bride may surprise you still. Never assume that you know everything. Other than that, successful guy seems to be someone that has time for leisure as well as pleasure, and that may be very appealing to the bride that's in his age group as well. You know, you're trying to wind it down. You know, you're not chasing a career anymore. You're kind of at the other end where you're now trying to, you know, wind down towards the later seasons of life. So maybe finding someone to just, you know, have holidays with, have a caring, loving marriage. You've had your kids already. The focus is just on quality time and spending the rest of your days together. I think something like that would work with this dude.
It could, and we don't know the personality of his bride. So,
Yeah,
he just wants to, enjoy the finer things in life. We don't know if she wants the simple luxuries or does she want to be now the life of the party because we heard her 18-year-old, 19-year-old son has moved out and now she feels it's her time. So that could be the
yes,
mismatch.
could be, could be. Yeah, so we have to see whether they align in terms of their compatibility like that. But at the end of the day, they have a few things in common. They've got older children. So it's not like there's a requirement to start from scratch or start a new family.
Right. I would
Um,
like to know how old is his youngest daughter. He has 4 daughters. So are they
yeah,
all grown and out or does he have, he's 50. He could have a, 20s that's still at home.
could even have a under 5-year-old.
Oh, oh, yes, he could. He could.
Yeah, but
But y'all, those are the singles, but we had one couple that went through a wedding and they were removed from the show. Okay. Before the show even started. Okay. There were allegations against him on TikTok by they're saying a baseless account. The person has not come forward to make the allegations a legal matter, which he is asking for so that he has a chance to clear his name. But they were removed from the experiment. So if you see out there that there may be a bride and groom we have not talked about because their information has not been put forth, but there's definitely an interview with them, um, talking about it and doing at least one interview. Okay. Hey, Tessie Jewel, good to see you. But let me pull up so we can see all that we talked about today, all of the couples, the brides and grooms that we talked about today. Okay. Let me remove y'all comments. These are all the brides and grooms that we covered. Okay. That's a handsome lot. And it seems to be an even pairing of 9. So the lady that can marry a girl or a guy, she may be ending up with a guy for this experiment because it's an even number.
Hmm.
And we didn't see any of the guys there, any of the lads that's saying that they want to date another lad. So she will be in this experiment with a, a guy, even though most of her relationships in the past have been with ladies. She had 3 ladies and then 1 guy relationship. But
Maybe
this
she
is,
learned from her mistakes. Maybe she learned from their mistakes.
not she
Maybe
learned from her mistakes.
maybe it was just a phase.
My word. But this is Married at First Sight Australia season 13. As I tell you guys, you can certainly search it on YouTube and there will be different channels that would show it to you. If you have a VPN, it is Now 9. That is the channel that you can watch it on. If you have a VPN, go to Australia and you can see it on Now 9. But there are definitely a lot of YouTube channels that do show the show. But keep in mind, it's multiple days. So Sunday through Wednesday is usually when they release episodes. So you will see, multiple, like at least 4 episodes a week. It is almost going to be 10 weeks because there are 40 episodes for this season. And usually like that. It usually goes into the 30s or up to 40 for UK and Australia Married at First Sight because they do it so many times a week. Okay. So y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. Tell the people where they can find you. Life is Reality.
You can find me on IG as JRX TV. You can find me on YouTube as Life is Reality. And on TikTok, I'm JRX TV also. So tune in, check me out, like and follow. And I look forward to reviewing this season with El Cid, man, right here on El Cid's channel.
Well, we're going to be covering it, y'all, weekly on Sundays. So 2 p.m. EST. Unless anything changes, we definitely will have, we have the link for next week's episode already there. So you can have your notifications set. So you are ready with us. And of course, if I do find a channel or whatever, I will let y'all have a link. If I do find a YouTube channel that is showing it to you, clearly. Okay. I will drop the link so y'all can at least see what's going on. But other than that, we will see y'all on Sundays weekly while we cover Married at First Sight Australia season 13. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels. Leave comments below. And members, we watching Sinners later, okay? So we're going to have the link to the party room to Sinners later. Ain't no downloading needed. Ain't no subscription services needed. Just click the link, join the room, and we're going to watch Sinners together later. In the post is where I will be dropping that link. So I'll see y'all, as I always say, on the next one.